Hi everyone, you are Reddit exposed there, enjoy watching.
The year 2023, New York, 28-year-old Jacob, a former musician, works as a bartender in an underground jazz club. He hasn't touched the piano in 2 years, not since his girlfriend Lily left for Boston, promising to return after graduation. One day, he receives an envelope without a return address. Inside is the key to their old apartment in Brooklyn and a letter. "If you're reading this, I'm not here. I'm sorry I didn't tell you then. The cancer won 3 months earlier than the doctors had promised. I didn't want you to see me fading away. The key is for you. Turn on the piano. My last gift is there." Jacob goes to an empty apartment. On the dusty piano are the notes of their song, which they wrote together. He sits down at the instrument, plays, and suddenly notices the inscription on the mirror, almost erased. "I'm always in your melodies." The rain is pounding on the roof of the Blue Note Jazz Club when Jacob notices a strange thing. His piano sounds different. Someone else's voice is clearly visible in the upper register, as if someone is singing along from the void. The next morning, in the locker room, he finds ticket to Boston for today's flight, a crumpled poster of their last performance together, the Midnight Rain perfume bottle that Lily used. The ticket collector on the train turns pale after looking at the ticket. It was cancelled a year ago. After the crash, stations that are not on the maps flash by outside the window. The train stopped at an abandoned station. The rusty sign barely read, "Welcome to Lily's Crossing," a city that does not exist on any map. Jacob steps onto the platform. In my pocket is the key to the apartment, which suddenly became hot. The first thing he sees, an empty platform with ticket counters overgrown with ivy. The clock frozen at 3:17, the time of their last call. Bare footprints on the dusty floor leading to the exit. Their song is playing somewhere in the distance. Lily disappears into the tunnel. Jacob rushes after him and finds himself on the streets of ghostly Boston. Here, the rain is falling up. The lanterns are lit with black light. On the wall of the bar, the last core, is a poster with their names for next Saturday. Suddenly, a little girl comes out of the doorway with a toy piano. "You're late," she says. She's already starting to forget. Jacob unclenches his fist and the ticket turns into the key to the conservatory, where they first met. The hall is empty. On stage, a piano with one key missing, a flat, her favorite notes with blood on the pages, an empty violin part. Lily always accompanied him. When he starts playing, her reflection appears in the mirror above the piano. "Did you know that I hate goodbyes?" Lily says without opening her mouth. Jacob pulls out the A-flat key. Instead of wood, it turns out to be bone. The conservatory hall is crumbling like music paper in water. It only remains. Lily in her present form is translucent, with intravenous tubes instead of strings. A grand piano that turns into a hospital bed. The mirror that now reflects their real last morning. "I wasn't afraid to die," says Lily, wiping away a tear. "I was afraid you'd get stuck between our before and after." A year later, the real Boston. Jacob is sitting at the new grand piano at the Afterlife Jazz Club, the one where their picture once hung. There are exactly 317 empty chairs in the hall. When he starts playing a reworked version of their song, something strange happens. Windows fog up, revealing the notes. A drop of rain falls on the outermost chair. Although it's clear outside, the familiar smile flashes in the mirror behind the bar. The club manager holds out an envelope. "This is for you," left by a red-haired girl. 3 months after returning, Jacob finds a forgotten draft in the piano case, their common song, which they never finished. The last verse is marked with a pencil question mark. That same night, he has a dream. Lily, in a hospital gown, stands by the piano. In empty hall on the music stand lies an inverted score with the title "What We Didn't Have Time For." All the keys are flooded with moonlight, except for one, a flat. When he wakes up, he discovers on his piano a wet print of a woman's hand, a glass bottle with a drop of blood instead of perfume, a bill from the tuner marked "Memory Pedal Adjustment, $317 on a rainy evening." Jacob notices a new entry in the music book. Lily's handwriting, just 3 lines. "Look for me where." Half-written letters are falling. The clock is striking 3:17, and the shadows are dancing our waltz. At the same moment, the lantern in front of his house begins to glow to the rhythm of their song. The vintage metronome in the antique store starts by itself. A wet print of a woman's dress appears on a bench by the river. Jacob fixes the watch. At the moment when the arrows start moving for the first time in a year, the whole of Boston freezes. A door appears on the embankment, which has never been there. On the sign, For those who are ready to let go, behind it is a hall of mirrors with Endless pianos, everyone plays their song in a different key, and calendars with the date February 31 marked. Lily in 317 reflections, each at a different stage of the disease. She turns around and speaks directly for the first time. You have to choose one of us. The others. Jacob takes a step forward, and all the mirrors explode in a crystal shower. He chooses none of the Lily. Instead, he takes the broken flat key and inserts it into the last piano. The tool turns into the hospital bed where the real Lily of the last day lies. The ghost train, which they never boarded. The empty frame of the mirror where only the future is reflected. Now Lily is really smiling for the first time in this whole story. You finally heard. 5 years pass. A small music school opens in Boston by the river. The sign features a silhouette of a violinist and a pianist holding hands. In the morning, the director, a man with a scar in the shape of a flat on his wrist, puts on an old metronome for 60 beats, for exactly 3 minutes 17 seconds. And then he sits down at the piano with one key missing and plays the first bars of their song, a tune that no one has finished recording. The silence between the notes. On the day of the 10th anniversary of school, a girl with brown braids comes to Jacob. In her hand she holds a glass violin, inside of which floats jasmine petal. A drop of rain from that station. The microscopic note in a flat. My name is Echo, she says. She taught me how to play in a dream. And he sings their song, but leaves the last beat unfinished. In winter, when the temperature drops to -3.17 C, a miracle happens at school. The glass violin, Echo, is covered with musical frost. All clocks freeze at 3:17. An ice piano with one hot key of flat grows in the courtyard. Echo puts the violin on the music stand, and it starts playing by itself, drawing out the sounds, frosty patterns on the windows from the creak of snow under boots, from the silence between Jacob's heartbeats when the ice melts. A flotilla of paper boats appear in the puddles near the music school. Each one is made of sheet music with fragments of their song Lily's hospital discharge and sent letters from Jacob. The Echo collects them into a glass violin, and they independently add up to a new score. On the title page, What We Didn't Have Time For, version 317. On the day of the graduation concert, Echo finds the last bow, made up of a wedding invitation that Lily and Jacob never sent out. On stage, the glass violin sounds by itself. The 316-key grand piano suddenly takes on a flat ice. All viewers notice that their programs change in real time. The last page of the score now reads, Finale, version 318. Let the one who wasn't there play. After the concert, the Echo goes out to the river. In his hands is the last boat with the inscription for the one who stays. The water suddenly freezes under it, forming an ice keyboard with 317 keys. The reflection is not of a school, but of a hospital ward. To pairs of footprints leading to the middle of the river when she takes a step on the ice. The whole story is rewritten. Lily is recovering in 2023. Jacob doesn't lose his music. The school still doesn't open. But there are tears in Echo's eyes, because now she never existed. In the new year 2023, where Lily is alive and Jacob plays at weddings, a strange exhibit appears in an antique shop on Charles Street, a violin made of frozen tears. On the label is the date, February 31, 2013, 10 years. If for the miracle in the case there is a wrinkled jasmine and notes marked for Echo at night, the instrument plays a lullaby by itself. The new owner of the shop, a woman with a note-shaped scar on her wrist, puts up a sign, not for sale, waiting for the hostess. 20 years pass. In the deserted music school building, a strange artifact is found, a metronome, which, it starts every 3 hours and 17 minutes, measures the rhythm of a non-existent song. Inside it contains a folded sheet with coordinates 47.6062 to N, 122.33 to 1W. This is the address of the old Forgotten Stories Cafe in Seattle, which is no longer there. But when the researcher arrives at the specified address, he sees a sign with a changed name. For those who remember, at a table at the window, 3 people, a man, a woman and a girl. There are 3 cups of coffee on the table, but the 4th one has already been poured for him. The researcher presses the last key on an abandoned cafe piano, and the whole world restarts. There is a question in front of him, an empty page with the title story No. 318, a pen filled with jasmine and blood ink hologram of a girl with a violin, whispering, "Write us." At that moment, he realizes that his name is Jacob. He is 28 years old. And this is 2023. It's raining outside the window of the Real Blue Note Cafe. The rain outside is subsiding. On the researcher's wrist, Jacob, the author's birthmark, the question mark begins to throb. Suddenly, he realizes, Blue Note Cafe is an exact replica of Lily's last word. Rain outside the window. The sound of a drip. The pen in his hand is a needle from a transfusion system. There's a calendar on the wall with the date, February 31st, 2023. The monitor makes a steady sound, but suddenly, one last splash. Jacob opens his eyes in an empty hospital room. On the windowsill, glass violin with a raindrop inside. A note from Lily. I checked out. Look for me by the river. Train ticket no. 317. Round trip. When he regains consciousness, the nurse says, in surprise, that's strange. Your reading stabilized at exactly 317. Jacob gets on the train. The carriage is empty except for the conductor with the face of a young Lily. The painted window. All the drawings of his memories. A ticket composter that stamps the dates. February 31st, 2023, March 17, 1995, August 15, 2018. When the train enters the tunnel, the glass turns into screens, showing an alternate reality where he didn't save Lily from the car. Another option is where she survived, but they broke up. A third world where Echo is their real daughter. Jacob wakes up. The white ceiling. IV drip. A real hospital in 2023. The nurse adjusts the pillow. You were found by the river with an empty bottle and music notes in your pocket. You were shouting someone's name. On the bedside table, glass violin. Now a medical bottle. Train ticket. Prescription for sleeping pills. Mola question mark. On the wrist. IV scar. The door of the ward opened slightly. There was no one in the doorway. Rain. To Boston waterfront. Jacob stands in front of 3 doors. Hospital where he no longer exists. Music school where an unfamiliar melody is playing. The burnt out cafe where the piano key glitters in the ashes. In my pocket is the last page of my diary. If you're reading this, choose the wrong door. Choose the rain. Choose us. Caption. Lillian Echo. Jacob breaks the ball. The fragments are added to a map with coordinates 47.6062 and music school 122.33 to 1W. Burnt out cafe. Depth 317 meters. River of time. Suddenly, he realizes that all this has already happened 318 times. Every time there is a new ending. Every ending is a new trap. Jacob grabs a pen and rewrites the formula. Love equals life plus death 0. The universe shudders. There is a question in front of him. An empty room with a grand piano made of ice and ashes. 317 mirrors. Each one reflects not him, but someone else. Lily in her original form is not sick, not dead, not a ghost. Just a girl looking at her with a mute question. She hands him the last item, an eraser. Jacob clenches his fists, and the lines on his palms flash blue. The score of the universe unfolds in front of him. Lily's life. Waltz in the key of a flat. Their love is a syncopated rhythm with missing beats. His longing is an endless fermata over an empty clock. Suddenly, someone takes his hand. It's an Echo, but now she's an old woman with a violin of time instead of a heart. Play the last chord, she whispers, and we'll all be free. Jacob puts his hand to his chest. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The rhythm of 317 no longer sounds, it pulsates in the bones. The echo dissolves, leaving the violin of time now the size of an ashtray. A bottle with the inscription tears for new stories. A reflection in the mirror is of a woe with brown curls playing their song on a toe piano beyond the window of the present 2023. No music school, no burnt out cafe, just the usual rain. Over the usual Boston the rain subsides. 2 puddles in the shape of irregular notes appear on the wet asphalt in front of Jacob's house. When he steps on them, the left one reflects Lily on the day of their first meeting. The right one shows herself on the last day of her life. There is a narrow dry strip between them, exactly 31.7 centimeters. On this strip lies an engagement ring, which never existed. Jacob takes a broken pencil engraved for draft sand, a movie ticket for the movie 3 minutes and 17 seconds from his pocket. When touched, the arrow comes to life and starts counting down. 317, 316, 315. With every tick, puddles the notes on the asphalt evaporate, leaving burns in the form of chords. The ring turns into a drop of metal with the inscription L plus D equals the movie ticket. Rewrites the date for tomorrow. Suddenly, the rain starts again, but the drops freeze in the air, forming sheet music mill made of water threads, a web with 317 nodes. The mirror where Jacob is a child playing in an empty room. Jacob freezes, looking at his watch. 3 hours 16 minutes and 59 seconds. The last second is not coming. Instead of this, the room is filled with the sound of 317 tuning forks. The walls dissolve, revealing a night sky with a constellation in the shape of a broken metronome. A single flat note appears in the air, visible like a scar on the fabric of reality. Lily approaches him, but it's not Lily, but the shadow left by all her versions. You've been stuck in that second 318 times, she says. Do you want to know why? A flat dissolves Jacob. He opens his eyes in a white room without walls, where Echo, now a teenage girl, holds his hand. Lily, in dozens of variations, sings soundlessly. On the floor is a map of Boston, made up of burnt notes. Echo puts a mirror fragment in his palm. This is the last way out. You have to see. In the reflection, he himself is in another reality, alive with Lily without music. Jacob opens his eyes. He is sitting on the bank of a river that is not on the maps. In front of him, 317 paper boats, each with Lily's name, a violin with one string woven from her hair, an empty bottle with a note. For the one who stays, when he picks up the violin, the string sounds by itself, playing a countdown. 317, 316, 315. Act 1. 317 butterflies fly up, creating a whirlwind of ashes and notes. Act 2. Jacob is no longer Jacob. Now he is just a man on an empty beach with an empty bottle. Act 3. The river disappears, leaving one piano with a stuck pedal, one picture of him alone, one ring with no engraving inside. Act 4. The wind brings a fragment of melody, 3 notes that are missing in their song. Act 5. Silence. D flat is lost in the sound of the surf. They remain on the wet sand. One key to a non-existent cabin on the SS Forgiveness children's drawing. 3 figures on a ship, where the 4th one is just being planned. Bottle stopper with engraved coordinates 4,736.07 and 12,233.21 west. When Jacob picks up the key, the whole story is rewritten. Lily becomes a doctor in a small coastal town. Echo is her real daughter and he is the captain of a pleasure boat. Echo chalks up the 5th figure, a woman in a sea-foam dress. At the same moment, the piano on the pier starts playing an unknown melody. The photo in it shows a 4th person, a red-haired stranger. The key in Jacob's hand splits into 5 grains of sand. Lily suddenly remembers something that didn't happen. We forgot my sister, the one who drowned in childhood. The piano sails at dawn. There are 5 names on its lid. Lily, Jacob, Echo, child, the ghost. Echo, an empty space for a new story. Jacob stands knee-deep in the water and understands. To add the 5th name, you need to enter the piano. To leave it empty, you need to release it. To erase everything, you need to start a new melody. In the morning, an open music album is found on the doorstep. 5 completed melodies. First blank page, a child's handprint on the cover. When Lily picks it up, all the clocks in a house begin to sound. They show 317, 317, 317. The 6th melody turns out to be an exact copy of the first one, but played the other way around. People appear in the house. 6 identical music albums, 6 cups of cold coffee. Jacob has 6 shadows, each singing a different version of their song. On the threshold there is a wet footprint of bare feet. He leads to the piano where there are 6 keys in a flat, to the mirror where 6 Lila wash 1 cup, to Echo who draws the 6th figure, herself a cup with a crack in the shape of a flat note appears on the kitchen table. When Jacob picks it up, all 6 albums burst into flames. The first 5 burn away, leaving ashen prints of children's palms. The 6th opens on a new page. Chapter 42. You remove a starfish with 7 rays crawls out of a crack in the cup. Echo suddenly remembers. This is my mother's set of cups. The one that went into the sea. Jasmine sprouts from a crack in the cup. His roots. All 6 music albums are entangled. A starfish is stitched into 7 parts. The equation is displayed on the wall. Love equals life, death 7. Jacob understands that this is a clue. To rewrite history, you need to add up all 7 versions, subtract the pain, multiply by the number of unfinished melodies. The 8th jasmine petal falls on the last page of the album. T erases the equation, connects all 7 versions, leaves a single entry. The end is the place where the author becomes the reader. Jacob closes the album.